Hey y'all. So, we got compound shapes. I know from what I have heard from emails and texts, this might be a struggle for some of y'all right now. I'm going to do my best to explain this over video, and when I am back within the next few days, I'm going to make this a lot easier. All right. So, I'll start with number 9. We'll go through some of these. I'm going to do some of I'll do like one of each type. So here we got a triangle and a square. So what you want to do is find the area of each shape by itself, then add them together. All right. So we got this square here, this blue square. And remember, the area for a square is the side times the other side, right? They're both the same. So we got 10 times 10 equals 100. So that is the area of that square. And then we've also got this red triangle. If you remember, for a triangle, the area, it is the base times the height, and then divide that by 2. All right, so notice that since this side is 10 on the square, right? All 4 sides on a square, they're all going to be the same. So this side is also a 10 right over here. So we've got a base, we've got a height, or whichever one you want to call it, whichever one's the 10 and the 12. Doesn't matter the order because you're multiplying them together, right? So the area, we can call the base the 12 and the height the 10, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. You're going to get to the same answer either way. And then divide it by 2. So 12 times 10, you'll get 120. Divide it by 2, that'll give you 60. So the area of that triangle is 60 square kilometers. Lastly, you got to add them together, right? So we found the circle is 100 kilometers squared. The triangle is 60 kilometers squared. Add those together for your final answer, 160 kilometers squared. All right, number 10, we got an arrow here. Again, this is where we've got to identify a couple different shapes we've got going on. So I'm going to go ahead, I would say it's drawing the cutoff. I think it helps, right? Because that helps you see. You put the little cutoff there. Now you can see we've got a rectangle and we've got a triangle, right? 2 different shapes. We know how to find the area of each of those, right? So the rectangle is the easier one, right? The rectangle, area of a rectangle. Let's do a different color. I'll make the rectangle green. The length times the width, right? So 2 times 13. So we've got 26 meters squared. That is the area of a rectangle. Then we've got this triangle. Well, we know that the base, make it red, and the triangle will be red. So we know that that base, right, this base right here is a 5. All the way from the bottom up to the top. But what we need is that height, right? Because remember, area of a triangle, base times height divided by 2. Okay, so the height, that's the one we've got to figure out. So here's what they want you to notice. Notice this whole piece right here, the length of that whole arrow is 15, right? Well, the length of the rectangle is 13, right? That's 13 right there. So that little leftover piece, this pink guy right here, that little space, that height of the triangle, that's the difference, right? It's if you take away that rectangle, it's what would be left over. So that's a 2. So that's going to give us the height of this triangle. Again, I really wish I could write larger. I'm not very good at YouTube videos. I can explain this a lot better in person, so bear with me for now. Just do your best with the videos. Okay, area base times height divided by 2. So our base was 5. The height was 2. As we just found, that difference between 15 and 13, the whole thing minus the rectangle, that leftover area was the height of our triangle. And divide it by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. So 5 meters squared, that would be the area of that triangle. And again, same thing, compound shapes, you're just going to add them up at the end. So we've got 26 meters squared on the rectangle, 5 meters squared on the triangle, add them together, 26 and 5. So the whole thing is going to be 31 meters squared. Let's see what else we got. Number 11. So again, you want to look at where can we draw, where can we divide this off? So I see maybe there's two ways we could go. All right, either one, we could divide it this way, or two, we could divide it this way. Well, the good thing is, either way, it's going to get you to the right answer. Doesn't matter. If you want, go ahead. You can try it the other way. I'm just going to do it this way. So notice, right, if we're going to do, say we want to find the big rectangle first, this green one, right? The area of that green one, it's going to be the length times the width. So 6 times 8. So that big guy there is going to be 48 inches squared, right? 6 times 8. And then that small one, right? Let's make it red. This little red guy. So we've got a width, but we need a length, right? Because we need to use that formula, length times width, but we don't know the length. So to get that length, here's what we can notice, right? What we notice is this whole side right here is 8, and this piece of it is 6. Well, lucky enough, this leftover part, right? That's the length. That's the length of that little rectangle that we need to find. So it's the difference between 8 and 6. Because it's like if we have the whole thing, we take away that big rectangle up top, what's left is that little small piece. So it's the difference between the 8 and the 6. So our length is going to be 2. And again, length times width, 3 times 2. That's going to be 6 inches squared here for our little rectangle in there. And as always with compound shapes, last step, add them together. So 48 and 6 is going to give us an area of 54 inches squared. All right, number 12, very similar to number 9, so I'm not going to waste time with the video on it. Again, though, if you have questions, please text me, please email me, and I'm happy to help. But number 12, it's very similar to 9. It's a rectangle and then a triangle. Find the area of each of them and then add them up. Number 13 is almost the exact same thing as number 10. So think about how do we want to divide up that arrow, right? We make a rectangle and then make a triangle. Find the area of the rectangle, find the area of the triangle, and realize you're going to need is this height. You're going to need to find that height. All right. 14, very similar to 11, right? We can divide it a couple ways. We could either divide it into a large one and a small one, or we can divide it into a skinny one and a wider one, however you want to divide it. The main thing is that you are going to divide that on number 14 into 2 shapes and then find the area of each one by itself. Again, if you have individual questions, you can always work with your group mates. Text me, email me. And then 15 again, 15 is very, very similar to number 9, right? You're looking at a rectangle or a square and a triangle. You're going to find the area of this guy, find the area of that guy, add them together. And then again, the same thing on number 16. So pretty similar here, just a couple ideas that you want to have, right? Divide the shapes when they're not already divided. Divide it into a rectangle and a triangle, or a rectangle and a square, or 2 shapes that you know how to find the area of each of them, and then add them up. That's all you really got to do. That's all there is to it. Let me know if you have any questions. Please, you got to reach out. I really want to help. I'll be back soon.